I'm Ben Silverio.
And I'm Caito Aase, a.k.a. Helena Handbasket.
And I'm Ansel Burch.
And it's
Time
to
party.
We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly. Today's episode was recorded on February 26, 2024.
So upset. Jesus fucking Christ.
There's not enough of that song. Every pop song.
Of all the songs, I don't know why it always goes back to that one, or...
Every pop song is Pachelbel's canon.
Every pop song is Pachelbel. Yeah.
I am going to whip my headphones off and leave this room. God
No,
damn
we don't
it.
have enough material.
No, please come back.
I was gonna sing that new Beyonce song, but I don't know all the words yet.
Well, my brain's like Texas, but which is
Something Texas.
yeah, Texas Hold'em. It's great.
Oh, you got to know when to hold them, know when to
I
fold
am
them.
out. Okay, this is the moment where I'm gonna leave.
I mean, I would love to see a mashup of Texas Hold'em and The Gambler. I don't know how you do it.
Yes,
But
thank you.
Honestly,
some madmen out there will
someone
make it
call
happen.
Shimmy LaRue because she's gonna be the one to do it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting
Someone
down?
has already done a mashup of that Beyonce song with the theme song from Franklin, the turtle.
Wow, I'm upset.
Do you remember that show?
I do.
It sounds so similar.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Instagram needs to relax sometimes.
We're all old now, so
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody said that the equivalent of making Dazed and Confused in the 80s, right? And throwing back to the 70s would be like if they made a movie about 2005 now.
okay. Well, anyway.
I'm just like, come on.
You know what? I don't need that. I really don't need that.
Oh, actually,
Why do you got to tell me things
I
like
can
that?
make that better. I can make that better. Somebody pointed
God.
out to me recently that Turning Red takes place in 2002 and features important aspects of the plot relevant to the time period in which it is set, which makes it a period piece.
Get the
Haha, but
Oh, okay, wait. So hold on. 2002. Hold on. I have to do maths real quick.
22 years ago.
Okay, so realistically speaking, this was exactly the time in which I experienced this for myself, which happened at the Charles de Gaulle Airport in fucking Paris. And I, at the time, nary spoke a word of French, and my poor, sweet, infinitely patient brother, who was the only person on this family trip who spoke French, had to walk up to the counter and get me some period products.
Bonjour, monsieur. Je voudrais un tampon.
Well, the funny part of this whole story was that my brother and I had gone out to dinner together because my parents had gone off and met some friends from Europe together that night, and they were like, "Here's some money, go and have dinner together." Because my brother was like 17 or 18 at the time, and I was young, I was 13 or whatever, and he couldn't remember the word for napkin because he dropped his napkin on the ground. It was like he wanted a new one, so he couldn't. He couldn't remember if it was serviette or assiette. So he asked and was like, "Puis-je peux avoir une assiette?" And the server like held up a plate like, and he was like, no, serviette. So when all of this happened at the Charles de Gaulle Airport, he could walk up and be like, "J'ai besoin d'une serviette féminine." Like, so yeah, if you wanted to know any lore about Caito in terms of periods, here you go.
We've learned a wonderful thing.
Yep.
I love it. And what boy band were you listening to when all this was happening?
I was a mixture of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Like, for sure. I was in that. But the thing that had just come out was Alicia Keys' like big debut album had come out at that time. So that was the big thing I was listening to on repeat.
What a good album.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Nice. I had a few friends over for a movie night on Friday, and we watched Together and Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
Have you
What a 2000s throwback.
Have you converted more people to your army?
Josie and the Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie ever. Join the army.
Eventually, I'm going to release an episode that's just you, just a supercut of that line.
That would be great. Oh, party people, welcome back to Time to Party, where, you know, things are made up and don't matter, I guess.
The made up things matter the most.
Matter.
The made up things matter the most.
That's all we got.
Get that on the cross stitch.
That's all we got left.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yes.
The real things are too depressing.
Here at Time to Party, where we escape reality by going back in time. That doesn't work as well on a t-shirt. But if you're just joining us on our epic journey that is the movie Coherence, we gave you some drinking and smoking rules. We reviewed the movie. We spoke to the director and writer, which is something cool that happened. We have award-winning actor Caito Aase, a.k.a. Helena Handbasket, on hand.
Hi.
On Handbasket?
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I mean, fresh off an amazing weekend of performing.
Certainly. I feel pretty good about it. Ansel was there, so
I was. I've seen a lot of you this week. It was lovely.
Honestly, it's so delightful because I just enjoy you so deeply. And hey, maybe Gary Khan.
Yeah.
Maybe Gary Khan. Yeah. Certainly some things brewing down the pipeline on this one. So.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, on our regularly scheduled third episode, we like to change it up a bit. You know, we like to give back. You know, we call them party favors. You know, we start the month with some treats with our drinking and smoking game. We end the month with some treats with some edutainment.
Ba, 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 ba.
Hand gestures and everything.
I thought you were going ba ba da da da.
Phenomena.
You know, I drove by Henson Studios the other day, and it always makes me happy.
I mean,
to see Kermit dressed as Charlie Chaplin at the entrance of that studio. It's great.
I don't think I realized that was there. That's very good.
I love it.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And they have stuff from like Labyrinth and oh my god, what's the other one? They have so much stuff like on display around. Oh, they have stuff from the Flintstones, just like Dark Crystal is the other one that I couldn't think of. But yeah, oh my god, that's such a cool studio. Anyway,
so we're gonna do some edutainment this week.
Yes.
What do we want to talk about, guys? What caught our fancies?
First of all, in Coherence, there are a lot of instances where technology isn't really utilized, right? Because it's all like kind of taken out by the phenomena that's happening with the comet. So like their phones and like we don't really see computers or anything. Mm-hmm. But the science really comes in other ways, which makes it very interesting. So when I was trying to figure out what my edutainment would be, a couple things jumped out at me for whatever reason. Because, you know, if you've gotten this far, you've probably listened to us before, and you know that I've picked some off-the-wall stuff for edutainment. Ansel, what are some of the weirdest things we've done for edutainment?
Oh, composition notebooks was pretty good.
Oh, I was on that episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Man, that was solid. This one wasn't you, but Saddles, I feel like, was a pretty solid
really
entry into the weird choices. That was a Stella Cheeks original.
Hey.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had some good ones over the years.
We've had some real good ones. CCTV, I remember being a good one. With Zach Shevich. But yeah, so I was considering Skype and multi-factor authentication.
Got it.
Did I say it right?
You did.
I said it
Mostly,
right.
yeah.
Mostly.
Proud of you.
What are some of the things y'all were considering for edutainment this week?
From my perspective, I originally, when I was thinking about it, was thinking about the physics idea of redshift, because we have the red and the blue house, and the comet is passing through the sky, which we can go into a little bit. I'll kind of give my cereal box description of what redshift is. But the other thing that I want to talk about, based on our interview with Jim, is Schrödinger's cat.
Oh,
yep.
Kitty.
Yeah.
Ansel, were there any others that you were considering?
I thought about ping pong. Ping pong plays a pretty interesting part in this film, and I was really stretching for things that could be invented.
It was hard, right?
Yeah. I also thought Halley's Comet would be an interesting thing to talk about.
Sure. That would be incredibly interesting, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think Halley's Comet is what eventually convinced me to go with what I did end up settling on.
Excellent. Well, now that we know what Helena wants to talk about, would you like to go first?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to give the cliff notes of what I know redshift to be, because the thing that I'm mainly going to dive into is Schrödinger's cat, which I don't know as much about. So clearly I pulled up my research pages. For those of you watching at home, I have the electromagnetic spectrum tattooed on my rib cage, because I think it is one of the most beautiful things that exists in this world. So the electromagnetic spectrum is a spectrum of wavelengths that exists in our world that varies from things as far off as gamma rays and X-rays and ultraviolet light into the visible light spectrum, and then slowing down. So the light waves go super, 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 super fast when we're in the gamma rays and all of those things. And transitions into the visible light spectrum, which is what we know, what we see when we can see with our eyes. Our eyes understand the visible light spectrum, and then shifts into infrared, microwaves, radio waves, things like that. So it goes from super fast and starts to slow down. And it's really interesting that it goes from something that we cannot see into something that we can kind of see, into something we can for sure see, into something that we can only hear. That's pretty fucking cool. You know, you get into microwaves. There's some shit. Yeah, I am no astrophysicist, so I don't know everything about it. But I think it is one of the most fascinating things out there. So the thing that was really interesting that came up in this film was this idea that there are the red house and the blue house, and in my brain I was like redshift, and like I threw it out there for Jim, and he was like not redshift. So this idea of redshift is this perception of what we call the Doppler effect. If you're driving in your car, for example, and an ambulance is approaching you from the opposite direction, and you're hearing the wee 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 of the ambulance, and then as it passes you, it goes wee 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 wee, and we're hearing the sound decrescendo as it passes us. That is a form of what we call the Doppler effect. So that is something that we pick up on, and that ultimately is what redshift is that from one perspective, we see something approaching us at, I don't know the mechanics of it. I could be totally getting this wrong. Ansel, you seem to understand some of this shit, so jump in whenever you want to. But the idea that something approaching us at a velocity, I don't know what that velocity is, but at a velocity looks blue.
Speed of light.
Yeah, speed of light, correct, right? We're at the speed of light. This thing looks blue approaching us at that velocity. And as it approaches us, it shifts from blue visually to red as it passes along this visible light spectrum, right? So we're seeing it in this blue, it tapers down to what we can see it as, and then expands outward into this red. So it is that idea that as objects approach each other, there's this moment where we can kind of like have a like, oh, we can see it for what it is, and then it passes us by, right? So that's the idea of redshift. In a nutshell, from a theater major and a French major. I didn't major in physics, so I don't know fuck all about fuck.
Except Les Miserables.
Fuck Les Mis. I threw a shoe at someone. Oh no, it was the Phantom of the Opera. I threw a shoe at
It's Phantom.
I threw a shoe at someone about Phantom, but still fuck Les Mis. No offense to anybody who really likes it. I think it's it's a phenomenal musical. I just don't like musicals very much, but anyway.
That's fair.
Ansel will fight me in the street about it.
Not about that one. I will say when I worked at a science museum, we explained redshift in a very similar way. So I think you nailed it.
Hey, you know what? Thank you. And also, like, it's the same concept that is like when you put something in the microwave. Water molecules really like microwaves a lot, which is something that is on the that is on the electromagnetic spectrum. And the thing that heats up your food is the fact that water molecules really like microwaves. So when the microwaves hit your food, all the water molecules in your food go, oh, 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 and they love to dance and they love to shimmy on up to each other. And the friction that is caused from the water molecules rubbing up against each other is what heats your food, which is fucking awesome.
so imagine a bunch of molecules just twerking on your food.
Having a little dance party, which is why you should add just a little bit of water to your rice when you heat it, to your pasta when you reheat it. Just add a little dash of water to it, which is also why you don't put things like rice cakes and crackers in the microwave, because they don't have any fucking water in them.
No.
So
I like to take a paper towel and dampen it slightly and put it on top.
Truly, that is...
Then your rice comes back to life.
Exactly. That is literally when instructions say wrap your taquitos in a wet paper towel. That is why. That is why.
Yeah.
And that is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. Let's talk about Schrödinger's cat. So I got into the physics of all of this. I appreciate the boys for letting me take over the physics of all of this, because like my brain retains...
Somebody had to.
Thank you so much. My brain loves to retain things like 90s song lyrics and not, I don't know, astrophysics. I could have gone a lot further in life at this point. So Schrödinger's cat is a concept that I quote unquote understand, but I had to pull up the article passages about this. Schrödinger's cat is a thought experiment devised by the Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger, where he designed this theory, this experiment, to illustrate a paradox of quantum superposition, wherein a hypothetical cat may be considered both alive and dead simultaneously, because its fate is linked to a random event that may or may not occur. Further explanation on this, in simple terms, Schrödinger said that if you place a cat and something that could kill the cat, i.e. a radioactive atom, because science, in a box and sealed it, you would not know if the cat were dead or alive until you opened the box, so that until the box was open, the cat was both considered alive and dead. Copenhagen's interpretation implies that after a while, the cat is simultaneously alive and dead. Yet, when one looks in the box, one sees the cat either alive or dead, not both alive and dead. This poses the question of when exactly quantum superposition ends and reality resolves into one possibility or the other. How this applies when we are talking about coherence comes into play when we say, there's a moment in the film where they talk about there are other houses. We don't know what the other houses are doing until we start seeing evidence of what the other houses are doing. We're seeing a ping pong paddle. We're seeing photos. We're seeing a timeline of the window being shattered. We're seeing these different things happen. we can make a supposition about what is happening. We can posit a scenario as to what is happening, but we don't know the exact results of that until we are in the moment with when we can determine, yes, the cat is alive or the cat is not alive. And I think a prime example of this, like Schrödinger's cat principle coming into play, is when Emily's character sees herself in the bathroom, and we suddenly realize that the timelines are parallel, and holy shit, the two realities are coming together in this moment. And again, going back to the question I posed to Jim and I posed to Ansel and Ben on this one of what happens when you see your doppel or your other timeline entity of yourself, knowing what you know. Are you the supreme knowledge being that understands what this is, and therefore what do you do to your doppel, if anything? So it is that moment when reality and the idea that this could be this or this comes together, and suddenly we see what the reality is. So science is magic. Check this shit out.
It's true.
That's well done. Lovely.
Glorious. That was very well done.
Love space and science, and I then ended up with being at the intermajor. It's fine.
I love it.
You can write plays about space and science.
Ansel, would you mind if I go next?
Go for it.
I feel like my thing being the sandwich between your two sciencey topics.
Yeah.
You know,
Delicious. Put
mine
that
is the meat
breast in there. I've got the sourdough bread, and I'll hand a piece over to Ansel, and he's got that other piece of sourdough bread.
Because spoiler alert, these two are talking about very sciencey and like intelligent topics.
I feel like yours is pretty sciencey if you lean on it right.
Is it really? But like, as I mentioned, I was thinking about covering Skype or multi-factor authentication, but instead, like the frivolous bitch that I am, I chose glow sticks.
I love it.
I wanted to know more about glow sticks because they come into play in the movie. You know, the glow sticks are different colors. We've touched on this a little bit already, but you know, the characters do the glow sticks really come into play in the movie, and things happen. You really need to watch the movie. But I did such a shallow dive on glow sticks just because I'm just like,
no, you know what? Like, give us the dive that you gave us, because like I only know about redshift because I am a psychologically messed up person who really thinks that. I feel like redshift is one of the coolest things that's ever happened, and honestly, I also feel like glow sticks is one of the coolest things that's ever happened. So like, don't sell yourself short on this.
I know a guy who drank
what's
glow
cool?
stick liquid, so like,
oh, I've known those guys too. Ridiculous. Also, I didn't realize that that's what your tattoo was. Like, that's super cool knowing that now, because that's like a tattoo I've seen a bunch of, right? But like, I guess I never really registered what it was. And that's awesome. But instead of talking about how awesome Helena Handbasket is, which I will do forever and ever, let's talk about glow sticks. When did you ever think I'd say that on this podcast, Ansel?
It's a very real sentence that just happened.
It's a very real sentence. So, for starters, glow sticks were invented by the U.S. military. Originally developed in the early 60s as like emergency lights, you know, like for like when people go overboard on ships, or like as target markers or landing zone for parachutes and stuff. They were developed by a chemist named Edwin Chandras, who was working under a government contract at Bell Labs. And he created this chemiluminescence without heat. And the thing that the three main chemicals that he used were hydrogen peroxide, phenyl oxalate ester, and fluorescent dye, or fluorophosphorus. Words are hard.
I'm following.
So the way it works is that the hydrogen peroxide is generally separated and encased in glass or some other tube, and separated from the phenyl oxalate ester and fluorescent dye. And they will stay separate until you break the glow stick, and then they mix all together and stuff. So when they're mixed and the light source comes on, it can last for over 12 hours. But without being broken, a glow stick can last for 2 years on the shelf. I guess that's why a lot of like doomsday preppers have glow sticks at the ready in case they need a light source and things aren't readily available, like torches or cell phone lights, or flashlights. Fun fact, the brightest glow sticks, want to take a guess?
Like, what are they made of?
Color-wise?
Color, yes, color-wise.
The brightest glow sticks? My guess is green, offhanded.
Yeah, green or blue, yeah.
See, I was also thinking green or blue. It's green and yellow.
Yellow would make sense too.
I mean,
just
yellow
based
those are the
on
ones
the
you make
visible light
sense.
spectrum.
Exactly. But then an interesting fact that I came across is that glow sticks are affected by temperature. The chemical reaction inside a glow stick is sensitive to heat and extreme cold. The speed of chemical reactions speeds up considerably in higher temperatures, causing the glow stick to glow brighter, but for a shorter period of time. Exposure to cold does the opposite, resulting in a duller glow that lasts much longer than usual. But so if you want to prolong the life of your glow stick, that's why they tell you after you go to Disney on Ice and you get glow stick necklaces and stuff, to pop it in the freezer so that it stays illuminated longer. And somehow the application of being part of the US Navy evolved into raves and party supplies.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Somewhere along the way.
There is no military technology that we will not eventually pervert to our own amusement.
It's true. But yeah, there you have it. A little bit about glow sticks.
That's amazing.
I hope you enjoyed that.
That's great. That was great.
That's the perfect amount of information. Excellent. Well, I will just crack on then, since we've already
crack on like a glow stick.
Like a glow stick. Yeah. So we've already done a little bit of leading in on this, so I'll just jump on it. I wanted to talk about the Tunguska Incident, since it was something that was brought up in the movie when they are discussing the comet flying overhead and the effect that it's having on their cell phones and the networks that the Skype is working on, and the electricity. They refer to the Tunguska Incident, which is interesting because it's you can tell why they think it's relevant, but it is a completely different and far more terrifying event. As scary as it would be to have all of our electronics stop working, as long as you weren't in a Tesla or an airplane, ultimately you'd be okay if like a big EMP went off. The Tunguska Incident happened at about 7:15 local time on June 30th of 1908. Keep in mind, this is when Tsar Nicholas is ruling Russia. That's how long ago this was. Pre-revolution, pre-Soviet Union, way, way, way back. And the inciting incident of the Tunguska Incident is a cosmic body entered the Earth's atmosphere, and all we know is that it was probably about 130 feet in diameter, which is not super big. but it entered the Earth's atmosphere and just exploded about 6 miles up, which is, that's a decent distance away. 6 miles, you think about the earliest edge of our atmosphere. If you wanted to drive your car up straight, you could get to what is technically space in 1 hour, right? Like 1 mile up technically exits the first like layer of the Earth's atmosphere. So 6 miles up, that's a pretty good run. But the resultant explosion was 15 times, roughly, the impact of the nuclear bombs that were dropped on Japan.
Holy shit.
That's how big this explosion was.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So 15, the equivalent of 15 megatons. Oh, sorry. I had the number wrong. The equivalent of 15 megatons of TNT, which is 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb.
Holy
Jeez.
shit.
Wow.
That's
a big boy.
That's a big explosion. So
heck.
even though it was 6 miles up, the explosion took out an enormous swath of territory. Probably miles and miles, if you had to guess. And guess is all we can do, because it's Siberia that it hit, which is a great fortune. Luckily, almost no one lived in the area where the explosion happened. It flattened forests. It shook houses for miles and miles away. You could see the light of it for a couple hours afterward. That's how big this explosion was. And it caused tremors all the way in Europe. So like in France and Germany, they were able to feel the tremors of the Tunguska Incident. Just wildly large explosion.
Wow.
And because it was in Siberia, there weren't a lot of firsthand accounts of it. And I am sad to admit that the best firsthand accounts I was able to find are listed on Wikipedia. So I will give you a brief read of one of these firsthand accounts, but definitely give it a look, because these are really fascinating to sort of think back to what it would have been like to live in Siberia in 1908 and have something like this happen to you. But one person, he says, "We looked at the fallen trees, watched the treetops get snapped off, watched the fires, and suddenly Shakaran yelled, 'Look up,' and pointed with his hand. I looked there and saw another flash, and it made another thunder, but the noise was less than before. This was the fourth strike, like normal thunder." So like the fourth aftershock of this explosion was finally something he could put into context he understood.
Wow.
And this is from Chuchin of the Shanyagir tribe, who was in a hut that got knocked over by trees that were destroyed by the Tunguska explosion.
Wow.
Absolutely wild. And I don't want to go too far into it. It is super cool. There's a lot to know about the sort of like lore around the Tunguska incident. So I will just conclude by giving a gift to my fellow sci-fi writers out there, because learning about the Tunguska incident gives you a delightful collection of technobabble terms, because we're trying to explain something that happened that nobody truly observed very closely. But we do have some leftover like clues. So we get the wonderful terms cosmic body, nanodiamonds, metallic and silicate spherules, and noctilucent cloud.
Noctilucent cloud is
Noctilucent.
my
I saved the best one for last. Yeah. Wow. New emo band, called it.
Is that a new drag queen?
Yes, 100%.
There it is. Please welcome to the stage, Noctilucent Cloud.
Yeah.
Ansel, what a most interesting story.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You got the history major version of the science explainer.
I love it.
Before we wrap things up, Hey, Helena. How does a computer get drunk?
Through a floppy drive.
It takes screenshots.
Thank you so much for having me on. Please never ask me to be a guest again.
I hate you all. Goodbye.
Listeners, I need you to know that sometimes I just text Caito really bad jokes
it's literally
out of nowhere.
I'm actually not mad about it. It's just one of those moments where like I have to troll Ben about it because it's the audacity.
I've sent you some good ones.
You have sent me some really good ones.
I've just been stocking up on them.
You literally texted me the other day and you're like, I'm so sorry this is so late. Here's a joke. I was like, I didn't ask for it. Oh my God.
You know, sometimes when you're miles away from people that you care about, you find weird ways of manifesting how much you care about them.
Aww.
But it's okay because both of you are going to come here soon.
Yeah, we're going to make that happen.
I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of convincing. Just logistics and
money.
Yeah.
Just, money.
Stupid
Curse
money.
you, money. Ugh. Anyway, party people, I hope that you enjoyed our look at the 2013 movie Coherence. It is a banger of a movie. You absolutely should watch it if you haven't yet. If our month-long conversation about it hasn't convinced you yet, what are you doing?
What else could we say?
What's up with that?
I don't know what to say about it.
What's the deal?
No, absolutely not. Goodbye.
I'm not even good at impressions. That wasn't even a good impression.
That's fine. I don't think we need one.
It's fine because, he's an okay comedian. So a bad impression is what he deserves. Anyway, you can find us on the internet. I'm at bsilverio20 on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, Hive, all that good stuff, I guess.
Who knows anything anymore? I am on the interwebs at the Helena Handbasket or Caito Aase, CAITOAASE on Instagram. I am on Twitter at Only Handbasket. I am on Discord at Helena Handbasket. You can check out my films, Revealer, which is on Shudder and Amazon Prime, or Black Mold, which is on Tubi. Stay tuned. I am a producer over at Queen's Court Games, and we are going to be rolling out our wonderful Monster of the Week series called Wayward, GM'd by the wonderful Maui Jones. That's going to be coming out this late spring, early summer. And then I'm also part of Vesson over at Queen's Court Games and a regular over at Folk and Myth. So check those out on Twitch. So yeah.
Excellent. And you can find me at Indecisionist on Twitter if you're still hanging around there, or at The Indecisionist on all the other platforms that you're probably already enjoying, including all of your meta properties.
If you would like to join the conversation, you can use the hashtag time2party. That's time, the number 2 party on whatever platforms take hashtags anymore.
Or time, the number 2 party, all spelled out, thanks to Warwick.
Yes. Extra special thanks to filmmaker James Ward Burkett for joining us to talk to us about his film Coherence to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. We truly appreciate you giving some time to talk to us.
And that episode will release on April 29th, so mark your calendars and come on back in 2 weeks for that special interview episode.
We also want to extend an epically large thank you to the award-winning Helena Handbasket, a.k.a. Caito Aase, a.k.a. my favorite rock star.
We are.
Who's a rock
We
star?
are rock stars.
All of us.
Yeah. And then, another extra special thanks for Ansel Burch for putting up with my bullshit.
Right back at you.
An incredible person and producer and co-host and all of the things.
I'm too
mustache.
tolerant. That's what it is.
Oops, too tolerant.
Oh, no.
Oops, too
I'm
tolerant.
super patient.
Oh, and as for you party people, we are super appreciative of you as well. Tune in next month where we talk about another movie that you may or may not have heard of and maybe or may not be of interest to you. We hope it is, because we're going to talk about it anyway. Until then, be excellent to each other. It was Kiss from a Rose.